Hello, dear art friends. I am really delighted that you have tuned in again today. We are talking about the workshop week Lüben. We will discuss what it is, where it comes from, its purpose, who participates, and who thought of it. I can promise you there are a few surprises for you, including some notable personalities who travel to Lüben. And
the best part of all is I will be there in person.
The workshop week takes place from the 27th of June to the 7th of July. Now for the 17th time. And yes, be surprised. You will hear what it's all about. And I hope I will see you there in Lüben. Meet. Then we will get to know each other live on stage with the participating artists. Enjoy!
What makes the art scene tick? Everything we always wanted to know about art. A podcast by and with Petra Lossen.
Hello Ann-Cathrin Knust and hello Friedo Stellfeldt.
Hello Petra Lossen.
Hello Petra.
I greet you. Nice that you are here. It's about the workshop week. That's where we'll actually get to know each other personally. In the second,
I am talking about the workshop week in Lüben with the dear Laura Heek, who was on the jury and then talks about the work of the jury and those selected. To start off the workshop week, there are first two introductory podcasts.
Friedo, you are really actually a veteran of the Werkstattwoche because you have been there from the beginning. You can tell us something about the origin of the Werkstattwoche. How did it all start and why did it start?
Yes, Uvich, that's really a nice term, Petra. Yes, I was allowed to attend the workshop week right from the beginning. Accompany experience, but above all from the perspective of the visitor, the one who was able to witness what is happening there in art. My bonus mother co-founded the workshop week, and that was 1989. The border opened, as many have forgotten, but really in Lüben, just a few kilometers away, ran the former inner German zone bordered, and it opened. And then suddenly there stood an artist from Saxony-Anhalt, from the former East Germany, with our chairwoman of the Cultural Association, and said, wow, we must grow together. We must reconnect now. We must come together again, also as people. And why not from the artistic perspective? And little Berbelberger, our chairwoman, grabbed Klößchen Finger, the painter from Saxony-Anhalt, and went over with him to my foster mother. And classically, as all great things begin in her kitchen, they sat together in the kitchen and philosophized a bit about what could be done. And from that emerged in 1990, in a warehouse that was made available, a printing company's first workshop week, where artists from East and West worked together during the holidays, exchanged ideas, talked, discovered how perspectives on art are on the experience of art, but also what always factors in. Art is not only decorative. How have we different influences from that time? And I was allowed, really for the first time as a student, to be there and experience it and absorb it. That was like this first workshop week zero. Yes. From that, in 1991, the first truly official workshop week took place, which then happened in Lüben, already with 14 artists present. The first ones from Radom were also there, from the Art Academy in Poland. And every 2 years it grew and became even broader, also in the countries and in the nations. And yes, such a wonderful gift that's over all the workshop weeks to also experience from this accompanying position, to be allowed to immerse and to learn from what art can simply offer.
Yes, so just to clarify, we are now talking about the 17th Werkstattwoche, and it is scheduled from June 27th to July 7th. You mentioned bonus mother and surrogate mother. Briefly, what is that? Who is that?
Gisela Bartels crossed my path in school as a wonderful art teacher. And we got along like gangbusters, as she always said. And from that, a truly close relationship developed, a very, very close friendship, more than friendship. So I have to say, I received this wonderful gift in my life that I basically had two mothers. Another one with Gisela Bartel, besides my own mother, who also influenced me, especially in many, many things related to art and culture.
That's luxury to have two. You can always choose which one to go to with which concern.
A huge gift, and above all, I come from a flat village, and so more cows than inhabitants, I always say, and from a family of craftsmen. Where art and culture aren't really ingrained from the start, the access to them, especially in these really very structurally weak regions, which exist all over the world, but also in Germany. And it's 45 kilometers to the nearest museum. That was not simply done in the 70s. And about this bonus, about Gisela, I got this opportunity to simply access art education, and to gain a different perspective on it, to develop a sense for myself as well, what art does to a person. And that is something truly, truly amazing. And that's why the workshop week is so close to my heart. I have only just taken over the organizational management with the 17th workshop week, but also to offer exactly this opportunity in this sometimes something still very disconnected within a provincial framework, to enable access to international contemporary art, to facilitate international exchange also for the population, because lots of formats where the community is included and invited. It's not just an exhibition, it's not just artists working there. We also have workshop formats. We love the theme of an open studio. Anyone can look over the artist's shoulders at any time, engage in dialogue with them. And with that, we create a foundation in an otherwise culturally somewhat poorer area to engage our district with international contemporary art in exchange and dialogue.
You just said at the beginning there were 14 artists. Today there are a few more. Why did it become more, and when did it increase?
That has grown over the years of the workshop weeks. We went from 14 to 18. At the peak, we went up to 28 artists, where we realized that it really also becomes very, very large. This also somewhat hinders the exchange between the artists. And in recent workshop weeks, we've always been between 18 and 24, and have now agreed on 20 artists for the 17th workshop week in our organization, because from our experience, that is a very, very good mix where different countries, ages, structures, gender, being able to represent all these topics, but above all, a broad spectrum of artistic positions. But at the same time, it is small, enough that the artists can engage wonderfully in dialogue so that no small groups form within the group, but it truly becomes a temporary family for these 10 days that they live and work together in this wonderful village of Lüben.
Yes, and Ann-Cathrin, have you ever experienced a workshop week, or is this your first time in this party, as I call it?
Yes, indeed. During my studies, I was somewhat pushed into the project by my stepfather, who worked as a journalist at the time and linked the then East Germany with the newspaper, so to speak, and participated a bit in the PR work. And then during my studies, I was there indeed, joined and got to explore the project as a student. Yes, but after completing my studies, I quickly went abroad. And then I came back and wanted to contribute to an international project also in my homeland. That was important to me. And yes, I just saw that there was the exchange again. And somehow it was again for me, it was a wonderful arrival. The workshop week was right when I returned from New Zealand. And you could reconnect with other countries, with other cultures. And yes, then I was then trapped again.
You do all this on a voluntary basis and not as employers. You really do it if you're passionate about it, right?
Definitely, yes. So that is in a voluntary capacity. Our entire team, really this wonderful, great team that organizes it together with me, they do it all voluntarily. Those are the additional hours, days that one truly invests in this project of the heart. Because we all also, who are in the organizing team, want to give something back, because the workshop week also gives us something for our own lives. Such wonderful moments, such wonderful perspectives. Ann-Cathrin just returned and came to the workshop week. It was the same for me. I came back to this area at the end of 2018, also as a resident, and have done so much in my life and time. And again, also this miracle experienced, how the experiences one can have with art, also in one's quotation marks, can help a lot in professional life. That art is everywhere.
I am convinced that art affects the whole person, no matter the area, personal, professional, or whatever.
Exactly.
Brings further, teaches perhaps for further development.
Exactly right, Petra. Yes, yes. And that's why when I came back, I said, okay, I want to get involved and get involved in this region again, where I'm arriving, where my new home is. And the workshop week was a natural choice as well. Yes, it's the same for others. When I think of Lars Drögenmiller, who handles a lot of online and marketing for us and has now returned to the region, who also comes professionally from the marketing field, but found his way to art through the workshop week. When I think of Sönke Holstein, who from the whole time, always deeply rooted in the organization team, available for all things at any time, who participated as an artist in many workshop weeks, then decided, I will go back, I will make space for other artists, but also want to give something back. And that motivates us because we know what a gift into the experience of such a format here. And that's why we love to invest our time. It's a heartfelt concern.
Exactly. Ann-Cathrin, the participating artists, and myself, there's no hotel in the area. Tell us how everyone is accommodated, the artists, and how we can imagine it on site. What awaits us if we consider going there?
The artists are not accommodated in a hotel because we do not yet have a guest house on site. But we are very fortunate to have the support of the village of Lüben and yes, also the surrounding villages, of course, but mainly the village of Lüben where the event takes place, that the families support us and offer us their guest rooms, which we then rent. The artists are well accommodated there with the families and perhaps get to know a bit more about rural life. Lüben, it's more private. Yes, and if you visit us, we can certainly arrange for you to stay with a family in Lüben.
I am really looking forward to it. I am so excited to be there on site. I still need to write to you guys about everything I need on site.
Yes, exactly.
I have it on the radar. It's coming.
Okay.
However, there are also wonderful hotels in this small town of Wittingen where some participants are accommodated, but the artists are really meant to stay on site with local families in their homes, simply to promote exactly that, namely this intercultural exchange.
Exactly, and this place with the hotel might also be important for those interested who want to visit and are coming from farther away.
approximately how many kilometers is that, or how many minutes to drive?
It's only a 5-minute drive by car. There is also a bus connection, so yes, it's easy to reach. Yes.
Yes, great. Very, very nice. And food and so on, is that also available during the workshop week? You know, like a sausage stand, fries or something?
How does one eat on site?
Yes, we are very lucky to have the Lumbner Tenny. So it's an estate used as an event location and also has a kitchen there. And we experience German culinary cuisine as well as other cuisines. And for the artists, meals are prepared every day. A breakfast buffet is provided and lunch packages are packed.
Okay, yes, that sounds good. So, Friedo, the artists who are on site, they also produce something during the week. What do they produce? How does that work?
At the very beginning, when the artists arrive, we also do a village tour, showing the different spaces that can be used as potential studios for available. That is number one, because we not only have guest beds in the families, they also really clear out their barns, their garages, their halls, their former stables. Everything, the whole place becomes a studio.
Oh, that sounds so great.
That's great.
Now I am even more excited.
And the artists then really choose where they would like to work, where they would like to set up an atelier. And then this creative process begins through exchange. We support the whole process with a small form of colloquia where they then engage in dialogue and exchange. Depending on what their focus is in their artistic form of expression, this creative process starts. And what emerges there in our experience is very, very often something completely new, because this place is so special, and this atmosphere during these 10 days is almost like being under a glass bell in the Lower Saxony province, where the artists also participate with each other, where impulses are picked up, where suddenly works are created together in the dialogue of the artists.
They probably don't know each other, and then they start forming corporations, like building an artwork together, or how does that work?
That happens too. Some really only work on their solo art, but always in direct exchange with the other artists, because you live together, you are like a temporary family, and then you also talk. You get feedback, you engage in exchange. And accordingly, a wide variety of works are created there. And that also depends on what touches the artist's heart at that moment, their mind, what during the process
Flows in.
Are there theme guidelines, like you say, we're working on such and such this year? Or
in the past, we very often had a theme. In the last workshop week, the theme was dignity. This time, we clearly decided not to announce a theme, just like in the early days of the workshop week, because we believe that we don't really know yet what is currently moving. The world, society, and art is also an expression of what is affecting society. Yes, what will be in the summer of this year? We plan 2 years in advance, and our experience is that within the artist has somewhat distilled a sub-theme without prescribing a motto, illustrating what this underlying sub-theme will be. In the summer of this year, Petra, we see that when the workshop week is in flow, and we ourselves are very, very curious, but as always, it will be extremely exciting, and all the things that emerge over the 10 days will be presented during the grand closing weekend, when the entire village transforms into a large exhibition area after being an atelier and artists' village.
yes, I discussed the individual artists with Laura Heek. You've either already heard them or you will hear them soon. Dear listeners, and 3, we did not discuss. They came in through the young generation. Before we briefly look at Friedo, the individual artists and what they do,
I would like to hear from Ann-Cathrin. What is the young generation? What do they do? What do they want? Why are they involved?
Yes, we are incredibly grateful that the young generation from the Kunstmuseum Wolfsburg is involved. They are part of the museum's circle of friends, and precisely they all moved to Lüben, and they are also a voluntary project, so to speak, and create many exhibition formats at the Kunstmuseum Wolfsburg, had art waves, conduct many art workshops, and they also do this in Lüben. So they come to Lüben. That are Ray, Lucas, Paul, Joanna, Celine, Linus, and Mara and Nando, who are coming to Lüben to be on site for offer various workshop formats for their children, teenagers, adults to simply address society and show that art can be for everyone. And it's not just for an elite circle. So they try to convey art in a new way and involve everyone and bring cultures together. And we complement each other so well because that's exactly our goal too, that we want to make art accessible to everyone, but also offer a place for exchange. And yes, they have come up with an exciting workshop concept and will then be on site in Lüben.
We'll talk about the workshops later, as well as the University Day, which still takes place. Now, I would like to start with Friedo on the first name. It is an Italian, Pier Paolo Grandinetti, who was selected by the young generation. What does Pier Paolo do?
Pier Paolo, and his last name you pronounced so wonderfully. As a North German, I always have a bit of trouble with this sing-song. Yes, Pier Paolo does digital art. Very fresh, modern, contemporary, and young art that takes place entirely in digital format. We will experience a lot of his digital art installations in Lüben and are very, very curious about the perspective he brings.
Next, we have Nilüfer Monadian. She is an artist. And what kind of art does she make and where is she from?
Nilüfer was born in Iran and has been living in Frankfurt for many years now. Her focus is really on painting. Let's first imagine a classic canvas and paint. And then comes her special moment, her personal DNA, exactly in what comes onto the canvas. She represents for me the generation of young femininity, young women with their perspective on the world and on social issues, with very, very strong expressiveness. Presents us with wonderful images that inspire thought and tell a story behind the story.
She also plants in Lüben. She has considerations, something very
to create installations with her painting. Let's be surprised at what Lüben will bring for you in your process, but I am incredibly looking forward to it. Also, since we have another female artist who is now living in Tehran, it will be a wonderful mixture and complement to the culture.
Then we have the German from Hamburg, Valentin Elias Renner. What kind of art does he create?
He does string art.
String art. String is not this underwear, though.
No. Threads. He makes art with threads.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Art with threads. Also, another form of expression. We haven't had that in the history of Workshop Week until now. We know it sometimes. For example, I had it in my art class a long time ago. You hammer these tiny nails onto boards or other subjects, and then you stretch threads.
Sounds very mundane at first. However, one can truly make this into
develop amazing art like Valentin does, where you stand in front and think these threads are floating in the air. these threads actually cannot make such curves because there should be a nail. But still, these threads make these curves. It is incredibly fascinating how he also, one's own eye and mind, how you look and shift perspectives and rearrange them. And Valentin has an exciting wish that he wants to realize in Lüben. He wants to create a work of art with string art, which you can without the eyes, namely with blindfolded eyes, can feel, touch, and sense with the other senses. That means art to touch.
That sounds just as exciting. I can only repeat myself. I'm so looking forward to it.
Like us too. So Petra, and then you also on site. We will have a wonderful time together. Also with all the artists and the visitors.
Dear Ann-Cathrin, now I'm also curious to hear something about the workshops. There will be workshops. How do we envision them? Who is involved? What can one expect?
Well, I can't reveal too much yet, but we do have a great location. For example, in Lüben, we have a forest school where we will conduct art workshops. Also, the firehouse will be quickly converted into a studio. Yes, there are different workshops.
The fire station. Let's hope it doesn't catch fire.
All good. There are more fire departments in the area that will step in. No, so we have different workshop locations throughout the town, and we have various formats from painting to graffiti artists, where an artist from Wolfsburg is also supporting us, who has already worked with the young generations. And yes, he will also give graffiti workshops on site, for example.
He is not part of the artists who were selected. Those 20 creatives from 9 nations.
Exactly. So he really comes exclusively for the workshops and works with the young generation, offering cool graffiti workshops for children, teenagers, yes. And I hope a lot of kids and teens will come by.
Are only children and teenagers allowed to participate? Because I'm now considering whether to skip the podcast and just join the workshops.
We have something even nicer for you.
What?
Anything nicer for me? Tell me.
Of course, Petra, you can also check out the workshops, but we also have after-work workshops for adults, where we have exciting formats ranging from Mondrian to figure drawing. Yes, Petra, where you can also contribute.
Yeah, awesome. So I won't be modeling. You can forget about it. For figure drawing.
Yes, you're in luck. We've already booked the model.
Very good, very good. Those times are over for me when I would do something like that. God forbid. Wow, that sounds totally great.
This exactly is about the theme of having contact and exchange with the population, not just having a few artists who paint a little and exhibit a little, but living and working in the region with the region.
Well, I have to tell the residents of Lüben, what you're doing sounds so incredibly awesome with them. I think it's amazing that they're participating like that. It's unbelievable.
Without them, it simply wouldn't work. And send lots of greetings and a big thank you to all the residents of Lüben who actively support us and yes, actually make everything possible. They just go along with every crazy idea of the artists and say, okay, how can we implement it? And maybe clear out the tractor barn again because an artist needs more space and so on and so forth. So it really is incredibly unique.
And they don't really gain anything else from it other than just having a great experience participating, right?
Yes, exactly. And this experience of being a part of it, that's what draws you in. Real friendships develop over the years. There are artists who have participated in many workshop weeks. This time we are very, very fresh and new because many of the artists who have participated frequently said it is now time to make space for the younger generation, for the next generation. Such a format always involves a generational change, and genuine friendships have developed where people exchange ideas and stay in dialogue even outside the workshop week. And it all sometimes began with the artist staying overnight in a guest room.
Yes.
This is something truly, truly wonderful. And it is always amazing what this village community makes possible there. And also provides us a framework, a great gift.
Yes, totally. Yes.
Perhaps, yes, the setting is also worth mentioning because Lüben is one of the most beautiful villages in Lower Saxony and just provides a wonderful environment for artists to work in. It is very close to nature. There are still the old villas that stand there and are restored, and it simply provides a very special setting. It is really worth visiting.
Yes, that is very nice advertising now.
That was advertising. Thank you very much.
That does come through.
Sorry, I work in marketing.
Oh, good. Yes, you may. It wasn't even meant seriously, but I thought I'd just say it, that I'll just mark it so there's no trouble or whatever. Okay. And then there's a university day. What is that?
Yes, this is the first time we are conducting a university day, and we want to engage more in exchange with the universities or nearby universities and have artworks there where the students can participate. These are 15-minute concise lectures conducted by certain speakers who visit us. And there is Paula Gauss from the HBK Braunschweig who will speak about art science. Laura Heeg from the Schöne Kunsthalle will also be speaking about art education. Hannah Elsche from the Oberhavel Clinics about art therapy. But we also have Inka Drögemüller from the MIT in New York with us.
We are allowed to talk about it. I'll take note of that.
I am not finished yet, Petra. Continue reading the program. Then we also have Ina Jessen, who will speak about curating international art, known for the Deichtorhallen in Hamburg, but also the art comedian, also known from the Städel in Frankfurt, who will speak about art history and comedy, and his cool contribution will be delivered by Jakob Schwertfeger.
Wow.
Yes, that's how the university day practically begins. And then the students can spread out in the village and visit the artists who are interviewed again and meet.
They have space to roam in the village. That sounds good.
Exactly. After all the sitting and listening, you can move around nicely and get to know the international artists working on site. And yes, in the end, everything comes together for brewing and baking art. And yes, can engage in exchange again. And currently, we also have various universities that have already expressed interest. That is, of course, Leuphana Lüneburg, HBK Essen, HGB Leipzig, but also our new cooperation partner, HBK Braunschweig, will be on site.
Great.
I am also really excited. Yes, to see how the students perceive it and...
Super. That sounds really amazing. I'm excited. Maybe I should postpone my vacation and stay a bit longer.
Yes, please.
Very, very gladly. And we are truly very, very, very touched by this great support we receive from these people who suddenly get a request from the deep heather. We want to organize something there, and we've never done it before. And could you imagine doing that? And who are there with an openness where we receive feedback on what a special format it is that we truly are for the people out there who are hearing about us for the first time and say, yes, I'm interested in that. What do you want? What can we do? Where can I help? That's how it is. Yes, we are really grateful and very blessed also through this great support that we receive there. And Inka Drögemüller now from New
tell
York.
me.
Inka is originally from Lübeck.
She was born in Lüben.
And from Lüben, she is now at the Met in New York. And there you can see what
can get Klein Lüben going with art.
We are the metropolis, definitely.
So that's also the idea, simply to offer young artists who come to the village a platform where they can then go out into the world and connect elsewhere, or perhaps at a higher level, simply to practically experience such a transformation in Lüben.
Exactly. On your website, there's a nice little picture, including one of me among others. And right next to me, I see Falco Moors, who has taken on the patronage of the workshop week.
The Falco Moors, who is that again? He is a minister, right?
That is a Lower Saxony Minister for Science and Culture.
Cool.
Yes, a wonderful honor that he has assumed the patronage for our project and leads and was immediately on board. So we actually made the request, maybe with a perspective for 27, the 18th workshop week, when the workshop week becomes kind of age. And then came immediately like, now gladly. I have heard so much about what you do in Lower Saxony, and he will also be there in person. So he is not only...
That would have been my next question.
Yes, not just a symbolic patronage, but really he will be on site. He will also open the workshop week, and he is very interested in what happens there. Even in the preparations, we have a wonderful dialogue with the ministry. It is really, really great how much support is provided from Hanover.
Yes, great. Yes, so it will be spectacular these 10 days, and I am totally happy to be part of it and look forward to the many recordings with the artists. And who all those will be, well, you will hear about it when the time comes. I am happy to repeat that for everyone, you are allowed to come to Lüben on the 27th of June. That is the opening, goes until the 7th of July. Enjoy the 17th workshop week. And yes, actually also to shape it a little, because you can also do a little something there, and you will certainly take really great things home with you, be it in your mind, in your understanding, in your heart, or maybe even in your hands. Because I believe artists sell their art, right? Just to mention quickly.
It is also allowed to be purchased.
It can be bought, people.
Exactly. Yes, very great. You both, dear Ann-Cathrin Knust and dear Friedo Stellfeldt, for giving us that insight. And I am really looking forward to the event.
We are very happy to be guests here, Petra, and especially that you will visit us on site, conduct the interviews with the artists, and that we can personally engage in this exchange with you. Great. We are very excited.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
I cannot add anything.
All
I'm also
good.
looking forward to seeing you, Petra.
Very nice. Yes, great. Thank you and all the best.
How does the art scene tick? Everything we've always wanted to know about art. A podcast by and with Petra Lawson.